Happy New Year, or should I say, late Happy New Year. I was gonna make this sooner, but I wanted to finish up a couple animes that I had on hold up until this moment. But I am pretty grateful that 2025 was a good year. I enjoyed quite a good amount of anime, and honestly, it's gotten to a point where a lot of anime nowadays, especially seasonal anime, are being made with quantity over quality in mind, which is kind of sad. And to be honest, that's why I decided to include some movies and specials on this list, especially those I haven't checked out yet, but definitely plan on doing so. These are my top anime of 2025, and there were a lot of them that still show that I can have faith in anime. As you can see, don't expect to see any me including any anime that I dropped. So I'll just be going over anime that started this year. So I'll be covering my completed list. I'm gonna put Kaguya-sama on hold. Oh. Yeah, personally, I haven't watched the latest Kaguya-sama special, but I'm surprised it's getting close to its finale. I definitely plan on checking that out. Recently, I've been craving that Don Bluth essence of a mix of character-driven stories, expressive animation, and surreal backgrounds. Who Made Me a Princess is based on a Korean webtoon, but I'm definitely intrigued and I want to see more of it. I will start it soon. I wasn't able to start it earlier because I was busy transitioning into my VTuber occupation. I heard Clevitus was pretty good. I watched a couple of fight scenes and I really like the line art. And it's a fantasy, not an isekai. Definitely have plans on checking that out. Undead Unluck, this is definitely something I plan on watching since I really enjoyed the first season, as it had the first season of Fire Force's director, even though it's Sung Hoo Park directed this one. I heard from trailers and scenes I've seen on YouTube that Undead Unluck's winter arc actually looks really good. I definitely plan on watching that. Now, this is proof that Chinese anime is really stepping up its game, and it looks like it has very similar production values to Mado Sushi or Grandmaster of Demon Cultivation. Anyways, that looks good. I definitely plan on watching Lord of Mysteries. I've heard a lot of good about it. Even though it's an isekai, it looks like it can cook. It definitely has potential. Now, this is an anime I technically started, but I didn't get a chance to finish because there were a lot more anime that piqued my interest more. Don't get me wrong, Spy Family is a perfect form of comfort food for anime looking for anime with slice of life plots, low stakes. To each their own. I'll finish it at some point, but it wasn't a high priority for me, so Spy Family's on hold. I'm gonna go with Dr. Stone. I am a very big fan of the Doctor Stone franchise because of how much every character is given a chance to shine, and the introduction of an antagonist like Dr. Zeno really plays a personal role against Senku and the Kingdom of Science's journey. It's something that I'd call edutaining, educational and entertaining. Honestly, I would give Dr. Stone Science Future's first core an A tier. Definitely belongs there. Ishira, I wasn't sure how to feel about that anime because it was a little bit gory, but I've heard reviews say that the animation was good, and so I binge watched the first season. It's kind of like a battle royale, and it's one of those stories that doesn't follow a linear pattern. This is especially apparent in season 2, but I honestly thought the production values were pretty consistent considering the studio's reputation. Ishira looks like one of Passione's magnum opuses, honestly. I think I'd give Ishira a B, honestly. I mean, I've seen better stories, but it was a fun watch, not gonna lie. Now, this may sound a bit controversial. Solo Leveling was one of those anime for me that really was popular for the time. The animation, don't get me wrong, A1 Pictures did a fantastic job with the action animation, though it did kind of cut some corners a little bit, similar to the first season. And solo leveling is one of those things where the more time goes by, the less I appreciate it. Solo leveling was fun at the time, but the more I think about solo leveling season 2, the more I think it's more focused on leveling up rather than internal conflict. I would give this a C grade. Now, 100 Girlfriends, I remember binge watching the. This is another anime that I binge watched back in 2023. It's not one of those anime that I started on a weekly basis, but I really fell in love with certain characters like Shizuka, and Rentaro, or should I say Chadtaro, is very memorable, and I really enjoy the character designs and the just how Rentaro treats his girlfriends is very wholesome. The only thing holding it back, honestly, is the fan service. The animation, honestly, isn't something to complain about, though. But in that situation, I think I'm going to give 100 Girlfriends definitely a B rating. It's definitely pretty enjoyable, but the fan service, like I said before, holds it back. Now, The Rose of Versailles is a very popular but also ancient anime. It came out in the came out in the 70s, and Mappa did a creative job by making this a musical. While this was interesting because I definitely had a good experience watching it, but I know they condensed a lot of the source material from the manga and anime into this hour long Netflix movie. But the idea of making it a musical with soundtrack and songs composed by Sawano Hiroyuki, I fell in love with the soundtrack, honestly, and there are moments that definitely made me cry in Versailles. So, but it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen the original Versailles anime, but I definitely feel like this would feel more fleshed out if this was a trilogy or if this were even a TV series. I would put Versailles at B. It was definitely a fun watch. Definitely not a waste of time, especially with the good animation. Now, the Apothecary Diaries is a very intricate mystery anime. Seeing Mao Mao solve these different mysteries, get to learn more about characters like Jinshi and Lolan. Yeah, that was a really nice twist. I definitely think the production values weren't as solid as the first seasons, yet the visuals were still surprisingly consistent. On a storytelling level, I was blown away by how much they made everything up to this point make sense. Like the build up was so worth it. I was definitely invested, even if some of the episodes didn't look as engaging as I hoped. It never really looked bad, so I definitely think while the animation definitely could have been better, I really enjoyed the story of Mao Mao, so I definitely give the second season of Apothecary Diaries an A. Now let's move on to the anime for spring. Now, I really enjoyed the first season of Windbreaker. Cloverworks is a sister studio of A1 Pictures, and they have proven recently that they can cook up shows that look good and have good stories. While some action sequences this season looked better than others, I really enjoyed the emotional, grounded aspects of Windbreaker, especially with Haruka living in survival mode his entire life until he found his friends. And I thought that was really enjoyable. Honestly, Windbreaker looked pretty solid from start to finish, so I think I'm going to put Windbreaker Season 2 at an A. This was fun. Now, I've seen Fire Force, but I remember rewatching Fire Force recently, and the difference between the direction of the first and the second and third seasons respectively are as clear as night and day. With the first season, every frame told a story. Shinra's story through the Fire Force really was a lot more visually engaging. Yes, there were some spectacle-filled moments of action in the second and third seasons, but looking back, season 2 and season 3 look a lot more streamlined, and honestly, it doesn't really feel like Fire Force as much as the first season. But I definitely will stick around to see the second the second part of season 3 of Fire Force. With that in mind, I think I'm going to put Fire Force at B, honestly. Yeah, it definitely deserves a B grade. Now, the Hyunji family, I haven't seen Rent a Girlfriend, but I'm turned off by many elements which I will not cover in this video. But Miyajima Reiji, he surprised me, and given Dagakobo's prowess as of recently with shows like Oshinoko and Jellyfish, Shinji Family blew me away. Even though there were some elements of fan service, I really enjoyed the character interactions, and the series definitely looks pretty. Honestly, I have to agree that Shinji Family was a fun watch. I'm gonna put it at B, honestly. Actually, Fire Force would be at C tier for me. I've seen better. Now, Our Last Crusade Season 2 was off to a rough start. I remember when it first aired last year, and the first couple of episodes clearly looked unfinished. They made the right choice by delaying to indefinitely, and it took almost a year. Summer 2024 was when it initially aired, then spring 2025 aired, and after the rebroadcast, it looked so much better. And at that point, the action was pretty good, the animation was more consistent. My only problems by then were the narrative. While I enjoyed certain characters like Alice and Elitier, they were pretty good characters, but other than that, there were a lot more characters that felt more like props than actual characters. I would definitely put, even with the rebroadcast, I definitely would put Our Last Crusade Season 2 at C tier. I've seen better. With My Hero Academia finishing this year, I found it an interesting approach to cover a spin off that takes place before the events of Midoriya's journey through Vigilantes. Koichi's a fun character. Knuckle Duster, yeah, he does kind of look like Batman, and this definitely felt more low stakes compared to the original My Hero Academia, but I definitely thought Vigilantes was a fun watch, and it looked pretty consistent. It's definitely down to earth. I'm gonna give it a B tier rating for now. Black Butler. Now, this is what I call elegant. The first couple of Black Butler seasons, I haven't watched them in a long time, but I don't think they would age well, especially since there were a lot of filler anime only content that didn't exactly follow the manga at the time. I mean, I haven't read the manga in Black Butler, but with Public School arc and Emerald Witch arc, who happen to be manga accurate and canon, I had a great time with both seasons, but especially the Emerald Witch arc. Seeing Ciel's frayed mental state and the many ways the story is told in the Emerald Witch arc. Every frame told a story. Even though there wasn't a whole lot of Sakuga, the animation remained consistent yet subtle. And honestly, I hope to see more of that in anime. Oh, Emerald Witch arc, that was really good. I would definitely put that in S tier. That's definitely a contender for one of the anime of the year. Oh boy, here we go, Lazarus. You all know Shinichiro Watanabe for Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy. We were hoping that this original work would work wonders, but lo and behold, as time went by, through every week I grew more and more bored of this series, which is a shame because the animation and art are breathtaking. I can definitely tell there is a sense of creative vision, but I wouldn't say it was as good as I hoped because on a narrative level, the character writing was shallow. It was so disappointing. Honestly, I think I would have to put Lazarus at C tier. It was no D tier, honestly. Adult Swim, you had the potential, but I know this anime looked good, but I feel like they really wasted their potential here. Moving on to 2B Hero X. Wow. Like I mentioned before, Chinese animation has really stepped up their game. Even though There were some elements in the middle that didn't look as good as the start and at some of To Be Hero X's best moments. The production values overall for this anime were stunning. I feel like there was a lot of love put both into the character writing, the animation, and the visual storytelling. Man. Looking back, I can't help but smile at 2B Hero X. It really blew me away, and some of its best moments really stand out this year. Honestly, 2B Hero X definitely. Wait. I would definitely put 2B Hero X. This definitely is SS tier. It's pure cinema. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. Takopi no Genzai, or Takopi's Original Sin. Now, this is probably my favorite season of the year, summer. This is where I watch the most amount of anime, including movies. There were just a lot of anime that happened to pique my interest, not because of just appealing character designs, but because of solid animation and story. And given how I've been more drawn to anime with a balance of solid animation and story recently, and not just watching anime passively, this summer has felt very rewarding. And Takopi's Original Sin did not recognize that studio, but upon my impressions in the trailer and the first episode, the way it handles mature elements, it really has a Don Bluth essence. From the fluid animation to the way the horrors of family life are portrayed, Takopi's Original Sin was just a visual and narrative masterpiece from start to finish. With that in mind, I think Takopi's Original Sin, it's pure cinema. The animation was consistently solid, and I'm surprised. And yes, I happen to be a fan of Demon Slayer not just because it happens to be popular, but because I love how Kajiura Yuki is involved with the soundtrack. If there's something praiseworthy about Kimetsu no Yaiba, is that it gets its redemption qualities right. Characters like Tanjiro show that even though the demons are our foes, there is still hope for redemption for these demons, and that they're not all completely evil. While I remember in the Mugen Train movie being super mad at Akaza for killing Rengoku, this movie, yes, this movie made me feel like I don't hate Akaza as much as I do. On top of that, the entire Infinity Castle looks breathtaking. The fight scenes really show that the compositing that UFO Table has shown us this entire time can evolve. For that, I definitely think Kimetsu no Yaiba is definitely S tier. I think it had the potential to be a masterpiece, and I was not disappointed at all. I haven't watched a lot of PA Works anime recently, but I was pleasantly surprised at Mikado no Sisters. It's one could argue that the main character Yu has his own harem and he's a misunderstood protagonist who happens to have a harem. But it grows to be more than that because it subverts those tropes and it happens to look good. The animation was quite good, but I also fell in love with the character dynamics. Honestly, Mikado no shows that PA Works can still be on top of their game. For that, I'd give it a B tier. It was pretty enjoyable. Now, Call of the Night was something that when I watched it at the time, I enjoyed Vanitas and its director, Tomoyuki Itamura, but I found Call of the Night boring upon initial watch. 3 years later, I binge watched the first season to catch up to the second season, and I have a higher appreciation for this series. Even though there's not a whole lot of Sakuga, the characters when they're on screen look good, but when they're not on screen, the backgrounds look beautiful and the visual storytelling showcases that every episode manages to be engaging. And with season 2, the production values were even better, and delving into the pasts of characters like Nazuna and Anko. Oh man, I can't help but praise the technical merits of Leiden Films' Call of the Night Season 2. Leiden Films is a hit or miss, but they definitely knocked it out of the park with Call of the Night Season 2. I'm definitely gonna put it at S tier. I can see people wrinkling their nose at The Summer Hikaru Died. People say it's a queer coded anime, sure, but I see the Bluth essence. Surreal backgrounds? Check. Vivid imagery of the character's mental state? Check. Character driven story? Definitely. Exposition dumps? Almost hardly. And this is where it gets it. The Summer Hikaru Died gets it right. Having the same director as the Jellyfish anime that I saw last year, it gave me confidence in the production values. And every episode was engaging from start to finish. And in terms of exposition, it handled it right because it showed exposition through action, not just giving us info dumps. And on top of that, it really shows how even monsters have feelings, even though the monster isn't who you'd expect. Honestly, The Summer Hikaru Died was definitely worth to watch. With that in mind, I would definitely put it at S tier. This was worth my time. The Summer Hikaru Died is an example of how the Bluth essence still exists in anime today. Oh boy, the fragrant flower who that blooms with dignity. My friend really enjoyed the manga, and when we checked out the anime, I wanted to support him because I haven't read the manga yet myself. But when I watched the anime, I was blown away. The animation was not only consistent, but the character dynamics were so emotionally grounded and real. These characters weren't just props. These characters existed. Well, it gave you that impression, and that's how immersive Karuhana or the Fragrant Flower was. Characters like Karuko and Subaru were definitely memorable. They, man, I had a great time watching Fragrant Flower, and even though Cloverworks were handling two other anime that season, I definitely felt like Fragrant Flower kept its end of the deal, and for that, I definitely think is an S tier, SS tier. It was cinema, honestly. Now, Silent Witch was another thing that I didn't finish on time because I was busy with life and I was not really having an existential crisis, but I was going through those times where is watching anime really worth my time and energy? And on top of that, while transitioning into becoming a VTuber, I was still trying to figure out my path. Upon starting Silent Witch and eventually catching up to it, I was not disappointed. Given how it has the same directors as Konosuba and Princess Connect, that gave me hope. And this is Studio Gokumi's magnum opus. Monica Everett is a shy, almost autistic protagonist who gets thrust into a lot of situations beyond her control, but seeing her get support and gradually grow from these experiences gives her a sense of agency. And I really appreciate the character writing, and on top of that, the animation is very expressive. I honestly think Silent Witch definitely ended up being worth my time after all. I would definitely put that in A tier. It took me a while to finish my summer watch list, but next on my list would be Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 8 is one of those anime that I definitely don't think is bad. It's definitely a good anime, but I feel like it would resonate more with a different audience. I mean, guys in their 30s can be cool too. Yeah, that's why they have anime like Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider that aired this fall that I didn't get a chance to watch because there were other anime that piqued my interest, and Kaiju number 8 was one of them. Consistent production values, fun characters like Hoshina, and especially new additions like Narumi, they were fun, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. I've seen better anime. I see the vision, but Kaiju number 8 is honestly a B. Gachiakta. I've watched a lot more anime than I have read manga, but I own the first 5 volumes of Gachiakta, and from what I saw when I made a comparison and contrast, it's pretty faithful to the source material, and not only that, it really enhances what's seen in manga, and it's brought to life. Characters like Rudo and Zanka have stood out to me a little bit more than I expected, and characters like Amo and Jabber as well. I had a lot of fun watching Gachiakta. And for a two-core anime, Sasuga Bones film, the production values were quite consistent. The action scenes looked nearly perfect every time. Man, Gachiakta definitely was memorable, and I look forward to season 2. And on top of that, it is also a character driven story that happens to look good. And for that, I think Gachiakta definitely is an S tier. It's definitely up there. Now, the thing with Dr. Stone is that TMS Entertainment is a hit or miss, and the production values were a little bit shaky, even though I didn't see any signs of outsourcing in Science Future Part 2. Maybe it's because I've had a more keen eye when it comes to animation recently, but I feel like visually it's a bit of a step down from the first season, even though it looks consistent in other times. And on a narrative level, Science Future Part 2 started off a little bit slow, like it felt like it was spinning its wheels, just trying to go through the motions plot wise. Even though I do enjoy the entertaining aspects of Dr. Stone, it could get a little bit stale after a while, but lo and behold, by the time the main conflict came around halfway, I was all in. The animation start was more fixed by then, but beyond the point, on a narrative level, it blew me away. Like the emotional intensity was there. I had a very satisfying experience watching the second part of Science Future. On a storytelling level, it's definitely better than the first core, if not better, but because of its animation issues, I definitely would put it in A tier. Now, for my last anime of the summer, which I completed yesterday, was Arc Knights. And for a mobile game adaptation, Arc Knights has blew my expectations out of the water. It is a very cinematic anime that honestly gives me feels almost to like live action to an extent, like some of the Western live action, young adult, dystopian. It really scratches that itch. And this season of Arc Knights definitely is a step up from the first couple of seasons. I agree. The fight scenes were a lot more expressive. The visual storyboarding and Tallulah backstory, oh man, it was cinema. It shows that there is, I could definitely sense the creative vision in Arc Knight's latest season. And with that in mind, I definitely think that it's SS tier, honestly. Even though I had fun with anime like Gachiakta on an emotional and technical level, both, I feel like Arknights definitely was up there. Now for fall. As you can see, most of the anime that I planned on watching for fall. Oh, I forgot to put Record of Ragnarok Season 3 on here. Oh well, that's also on hold. And it doesn't help that I don't have a Netflix account at the moment. I just have Crunchyroll. But anyways, I only managed to complete one anime in fall 2025. Given how isekai rom-com villainous and banished from the hero party tropes are just so prevalent throughout anime, I kind of got tired of it, and as a result, my what piqued my interest that season was pretty limited other than My Hero Academia and Gachiakta. Those were the only anime that I finished, but for new seasonal anime, the final season of My Hero Academia felt so earned. I've heard people complain about the manga, but the character development, the way the finale ended up was just so satisfying in My Hero Academia. It was definitely memorable. And on top of that, the animation was one of some of the best My Hero Academia has seen. I'm going to miss Midoriya, but we'll get a new season of Vigilantes next season. My Hero Academia is it's definitely S tier. And there you have it. This is my favorite anime of the year. And honestly, out between 2B Hero X, Takupi's Original Sin, Fragrant Flower, and Arc Knights, I think, man, that's kind of a tough decision because 2B Hero X had some great moments visually, but narratively it was a little slower. But I did like the way the story was told from different angles. Takopi had consistent production values, but and the ending was a little bit different than what I expected. It ended quicker than I anticipated, but the animation was nearly perfect and it was so expressive. It had that Bluth essence. Arknights and Fragrant Flower are also up there. I think Anime of the Year honestly goes to Takopi's Original Sin, given how it not only had it had the best of both worlds. Not only solid animation, but a solid character driven story that blew me out of the way. In other words, the best emotional experience out of all the anime that I've seen this year. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will probably make a list of what I will be watching in winter soon, and yeah, see you around.